Novembarska kiša je padala preko krovova gornjeg grada, dok je Matija Petrović zatvarao futrolu svog violončela u maloj sobi za probe u podrumu zgrade Hrvatskog glazbenog zavoda. Bio je četvrtak, 28. novembra 2018. godine, a večernji Zagreb se spremao za zimsku tišinu, koja bi uskoro obavila njegove ulice u čarobni plašt adventskog vremena. Matija je imao 32 godine i bio je jedan od najtalentiranijih violončelista svoje generacije. Visok i mršav, s dugom tamnom kosom uvijek vezanom u rep i dubokim smeđim očima koji su blistali kad god bi dotaknuo gudalo žica, bio je poznat u zagrebačkoj glazbenoj sceni kao virtuoz koji je mogao izvesti i najsloženije klasične kompozicije i improvizaciju koja je podsjećala na džez, folk ili čak suvremenu eksperimentalnu glazbu. Živio je u malom stanu na Tkalčićevoj ulici u srcu zagrebačke boheme, okružen violončelima različitih epoha i stilova. Njegov glavni instrument, precizno izrađen violončelo talijanskog majstora iz 18. stoljeća, bio je njegova najdraža imovina. Naslijedio ga je od djeda Ive, koji je bio član Zagrebačke filharmonije u 50. godinama prošlog stoljeća. Matija je radio kao slobodni glazbenik. Nastupao je s različitim ansamblima, komponirao je glazbu za filmove i kazališne predstave, a također je predavao privatne sate violončela nadarenim studentima. Njegova veća strast bila je istraživanje veza između tradicijske hrvatske glazbe i modernih kompozicija. Pokušavao je pronaći načine kako spojiti zvukove koji su odzvanjali hrvatskim prostorima stoljećima s novim glazbenim izrazima. Te večeri Matija je završavao probe s kvartetom Zagreb Strings, eksperimentalnom skupinom koju je osnovao s kolegama Anom Marić, violina, Petrom Novak, viola i Lukom Ivić, druga violina. Grupa je pripremala koncert koji se trebao održati sljedećeg mjeseca u koncertnoj dvorani Vatroslav Lisinski, gdje su planirali izvesti Matijine kompozicije inspirirane starskim folk melodijama iz različitih krajeva Hrvatske. Ana Marić, violinistica s kojom je Matija surađivao već 5 godina, primijetila je da je te večeri bio neobično zamišljen i uzrujan. Tijekom probe je često zastajkivao, osluškivao nešto što ostali nisu čuli, a nekoliko puta je spomenuo da čuje zov starih glasova koji ga pozivaju da s njima svira. Matija, sve je u redu? Pitala ga je Ana oko 9 sati navečer kad su završavali s probom posljednje kompozicije, emotivne pjece koju je Matija nazvao pjesma izgubljenih duša. Matija je podigao pogled od violončela s izrazom koji je miješao inspiraciju i blagu anksioznost. Čujem ih, Ana, rekao je tiho. Čujem glasove glazbenika koji su svirali na ovim mjestima kroz stoljeća. Pozivaju me da im se pridružim u glazbi koja transcendira vrijeme. Petar i Luka su se pogledali s brigom. Matija je uvijek bio vrlo kreativan i duhovan, ali ovakve mistične komentare ranije nije iznosio s takvom konvencijom u glasu. Oko 9:30 navečer, nakon što su ostali članovi kvarteta otišli kući, Matija je ostao sam u sobi za probe. Rekao je kolegama da želi još malo vježbati i da će zaključati prostor kad završi. Portir zgrade, Milan Pavić, koji je radio noćnu smjenu, potvrdio je policiji da je vidio Matiju kako ostaje u podrumu dok su ostali izlazili iz zgrade. To je bila posljednja potvrda da je netko iz poznatog svijeta vidio Matiju Petrovića. Kad Matija nije došao na privatni sat violončela sljedećeg jutra, njegova učenica Petra Horvat nazvala je njegov mobitel, ali poziv se preusmjeravao na govornicu. Petra je pokušala kasnije tijekom dana, ali Matija se nije javljao, što je bilo vrlo neobično, jer je uvijek bio pedantan oko svojih obveza. Ana Marić je također pokušavala kontaktirati Matiju za subotom, jer su trebali finalizirati repertoar za koncert. Kad se nije javio ni na stalni telefon ni na mobitel, Ana je otišla do njegovog stana na Tkalčićevoj ulici. Vratila se nije nitko odgovarao, a susjedi nisu ga vidjeli od četvrtka navečer. U nedjelju ujutro, Ana je kontaktirala Milana Pavića da provjeri je li Matija možda ostao zaključan u sobi za probe. Kad su Milano s glavnim ključevima otvorili prostoriju, našli su je praznu i urednu, ali s jednim čudnim detaljem, Matijin violončelo nije bilo tamo, premda ga je Ana vidjela kako ga pakira u futirolu na kraju probe u četvrtak. Policija je bila obaviještena u ponedjeljak ujutro kad se Matija nije pojavio na još jednom satove poduke koji je trebao održati. Inspektor Branko Jovanović iz Policijske uprave Zagreb preuzeo je slučaj nestanka. Inspektor Jovanović imao je 20 godina iskustva u istraživanju nestanaka osoba u Zagrebu i okolici. Prvi dojam o slučaju Matije Petrovića bio mu je neobičan zbog kompletne odsutnosti ikakvih naznaka problema u glazbenikovom životu. Nema dugova, ljubavnih problema, profesionalnih sukoba ili zdravstvenih poteškoća. Istraga je počela s detaljnim pregledom Matijina stana. Policija je ušla uz odobrenje vlasnika zgrade i našla sve u savršenom redu. Odjeća je bila u ormarima, dokumenti na svojim mjestima, a računalo je pokazivalo da je Matija zadnji put bio online u četvrtak navečer, baš prije odlaska na probu. Što je zaintrigiralo investigators bilo je stanje Matijine glazbene kolekcije. Imao je 4 violončela, ali nedostajalo je točno onaj koji je nosio na probe u četvrtak, antik italijanski instrument koji mu je bio najdraži. Ostala violončela su bila tu, kao i sav ostali glazbeni equipment, sheet music i kompozicije koje je spisao. Ana Marić je intervjuirana o Matijinim nedavnim aktivnostima i raspoloženju. Ona je spomenula da je Matija u zadnjih nekoliko sedmica govorio o tome da istraživanjem starije hrvatske glazbe čuje eho prošlosti, koji mu govori priče o glazbenicima koji su živjeli i svirali u Zagrebu kroz stoljeća. Matija je uvijek bio povezan s poviješću našeg grada, objasnila je Ana, ali nedavno je počeo govoriti o tome kako osjeća prisutnost starih spirits koje se okupljaju na mjestima where se traditionally svirala glazba. Rekao je da ga pozivaju da im se pridruži u vječnoj simfoniji. Petar Novak podijelio je slične observacije o Matijinom nedavnom ponašanju. Matija je spomenuo nekoliko puta da čuje glazbu koja se svira negdje u distance, osobeno kad smo bili i Old Parts Zagrebu. Mislio sam da je to just njegova umjetnička imagination, ali sada sam zabrinut da je možda bilo something više. Dr. Mirko Demarin, muzikologers Hrvatski glazbeni zavod, koji je poznavao Matiju kroz professional collaboration, pojasnjavao je da je glazbenik nedavno pokazavati interes za što je nazvao psychic archaeology music. Ideja da music koja se igrala na certain mjestima ostavlja spiritual imprints koje senzitivni people mogu perceive. Matija je vjerovat da Zagreb ima posebnu rich musical history koja nije completely documented, reče dr. Demarin. Je verovao da glasovi glazbenika iz past still resoniraju u local places gdje se tradicionalno izvođena glazba i da talented musicians mogu tap into ovu collective memory. Prvi mjesec nakon Matijin nesting prošao je bez novih leads. Jeho colleagues organizovali su memorial koncert da se počne jego memory, ali nikto niđe abandon nada da će se vratiti sa objašnjenjem za svoju absence. Tokom istrage policija je otkrila da je Matija nedavno posjećivao mnogo Old Parts Zagreb, koji imaju rich musical associations. Librarians at City Library potvrdili su da je boravovać books o musical historije Zagreb, folklor o spirits povezanih s music i ethno-musicological studije o traditional Croatian songs. Misteriozni aspekt slučaja bio je report od several people koji claimed da čuđu violoncello music in various locations throughout stariji dijelovi Zagreba. Mešćani gornjeg grada, osobeno oko St. Marcos Square i Lotrščak Tower, prijavljivali su da čuju beautiful haunting violoncello melodije koje se čuju noću, usually oko midnight. Marija Koletić, koja živi near Kamenita vrata, bila je among najviše vocal u ovih encounter. Pesnje koja čujem je toliko prekrasno da brings tears mojim očima, deskribala je. Zvuči kao da neki master violončelista svira za duše onih koji su prošli pre nas. Melodija je familiar, jak da sam je čula pre, ali ne mogu da se setim gde. Ovi reports bili su initially dismissed kao produce imagination or acoustic traškanje caused by wind ili urban sounds. Međutim, njih postali so frequent i consistent da inspektor Jovanović počeo da ih dokumentuje kao potencijalni leads. Dr. Ana Petković, folkloristandanje sa Zagreb University, koja specialize u urban legends i cultural memory, zainteresovana za Matijin case, u kontekst her studies o musical ghosts i spirit musicians u Croatian folklore. Prema dr. Petković, Zagreb ima long tradition stories o musicians koji become sound spirits, souls devoted muzike, koji continue da igraju pisle physical death. Ove stories datuju centuries back i usually involve very talented musicians koji imaju deep emotional connection to city i njehova musical heritage. Matijing disappearance fits pattern ja dokumentovala u several other cases kroz Croatian history, objasnila je Dr. Petković. Talentovani musicians sa strong spiritual connections, sometimes called the join, što folklore calls the eternal orchestra. Community duhova koji continue the performance muziku, koja connects past the present. U drugoj godini nakon nestanka, sightings Matije počeli da become više frequent. Ljudi koji volkali kroz Old Zagreb večerom reportovali su seeing figure koji mača Matijin description, always carrying violoncello case i moving kroz areas koje imaju historical musical significance. Tomislav Marković, noćni security guard at Cathedral, bio je among najmore credible witnesses. Vidio sam mladog čeloveka koji looks exactly kao Matija Volk kroz square nekoliko puta oko midnight, reče. On nosi violoncello case i walks a great purpose, kao da ide da meet someone important. Kad sam tried da approach njega, on disappears u shadows kao da nikad nije bio tam. Ovi encounters nikad nisu lasted long enough za definitive identification, ali witnesses consistently described same characteristics. Tall, thin figures, a long hair, carrying distinctive violoncello case, i moving cross old areas grada sa familiarity koja suggested deep knowledge of locations. U trećoj godini, team researchers koji studirali paranormal phenomena u Croatian cities počeli da investigate acoustic anomalies u areas gde Matija sightings bili najmore frequent. Dr. Željko Matić, physicist od Zagreb University, conducted measurements which revealed unusual sound properties u several locations throughout stariji parts of city. Certain areas Old Zagreb show acoustic properties koji bi theoretically amplify i preserve sound waves u ways koji nisu fully understood, objasnio je Dr. Matić. It's possible that architectural features i geological conditions create environment gde music možda be stored i replayed under specific atmospheric conditions. Ova scientific explanation offered rational frameworks of understanding reported musical phenomena, ali didn't address question of Matijin's own disappearance, ili why sightings his figure continued. Professor Dr. Dubravka Chale, specialist u consciousness studies at Medical School Zagreb, predložila alternative theory, based na her research u altered states awareness. Prema njenom hypothesis, highly sensitive individuals kao što je Matija mogu develop ability da perceive i interact sa što calls temporal sound layers, residual acoustic memories embedded to environment. Matija mogao da develop heightened sensitivity to of temporal layers at traverso his deep study of musical history, theorized Dr. Chale. It's conceivable that just somehow became absorbed into of sound dimensions, continuing to exist kao part of acoustic memory of city itself. U četvrtoj godini nakon disappearance, Matijin case attracted attention international researchers studying missing persons who vanished in contexts related to cultural, abo artistic pursuits. Dr. James Mitchell, od Oxford University, koji spent decades investigating what one calls creative transcendence phenomena, posjetio Zagreb to study case personally. Dr. Mitchell documentovao similar cases across Europe. Artists, musicians, and writers koji disappeared under mysterious circumstances, only to be reported seen continuing their work in supernatural context. According to ego research, many greatest creative talents throughout history may have evolved beyond conventional physical existence to serve kao eternal guardians of cultural memory. Matija's case shows elements typical of creative transcendence. Objasnioje Dr. Mitchell, highly gifted individuals sometimes choose consciously ili unconsciously to merge their identities a cultural legacy oni love most. They become part of eternal creative force, which preserves and transmits cultural knowledge across generations. U petoj godine, significant development occurred that would provide most concrete evidence about Matija's fate. Urban exploration group Zagreb Underground, led by longtime city historian Pavel Gregoric, obtained permission to explore neglected basement spaces throughout Stariji Dijelovi of city for historical documentation project. Grupa spent months systematically exploring and photographing abandoned underground areas, many which hadn't been accessed za decades. Their mission bilo da document architectural and cultural artifacts koje možda be lost as city modernized, The old buildings were demolished or renovated. Na August 15th, 2023, exact 5 years after Mattia's disappearance, group made discoveries that would shock everyone familiar sa case. A basement of 19th century building near Main Square, cross hidden door pochetek partially concealed by decades of nakupine debris, oni našli small room koji appeared to have been used kao muzyczki studio. Room contained various musical instruments, equipment arranged kao if someone had been practicing tam recently. Starost style of items suggested oni had been nakupine over many different time periods, some pieces dating back centuries, others being modern equipment. U center room, carefully placed na ornate muzyczki stand koji appeared to be handcrafted artifact of earlier era. Bioje violoncello koji Pavel immediately recognized from police reports kao matching description, Matijin missing instrument. Violoncello bioje perfect condition, kao if it had been carefully maintained irregular played despite being underground space the presumably years. Strings were tuned perfectly, wood was polished, the entire instrument pokazivalo signs of regular loving care. Around violoncello, arranged u semicircle, bili sheets music with compositions, koji combined traditional Croatian folk melodies, sa complex modern arrangements, all written u handwriting kwiatu Pavel recognized from samples police had provided during original investigation. Music bill assigned MP. He had dates ranging odd time Mattia disappeared to just weeks pre-discovery. Most remarkable aspect were journals found alongside muzyczki scores. Journals contained entries detailing Mattia's experiences over 5 years. Show felt like lifetime of musical education. No što, according to temporal references you writing, corresponded to pet years since ago disappearance. According to journal entries, Mattia had discovered what he called musical collective unconscious dimension gde talented musicians throughout Zagreb's history continued to compose, perform, and collaborate across centuries. Undescribed meetings, sa composers, musicians, and folk singers of different eras whose spirits remained connected, the city through their love of music. I found where real music lives, Mattia wrote a journal entry dated just after ego disappearance. It's now concert halls or recording studios ale, u eternal space where every song ever sung u Zagreb continues to resonate. Master musicians vid all eras gather here to share znania. The creation new works to honor both tradition and innovation. Subsequent entries described Mattia's integration into ovu community of musical spirits, his learning at masters whom history had forgotten, jeho role kao bridge between acoustic memory of city and contemporary musicians, koji need guidance and inspiration. My purpose now to serve kao conduit for musical wisdom, što would otherwise be lost. Mattia explained u drugom entry. When musicians of physical Zagreb feel stuck or uninspired, I can channel knowledge and creativity that flows through eternal musical community. Music nu mira kada performers die. It becomes part of living cultural memories that waits to be rediscovered. Journals also contained practical information about methods musicians could use, the access of a collective musical consciousness, such as meditation, deep listening, conscious connection, sa historical musical traditions of their city. Final entries described Mattia's ongoing work, composing pieces that would eventually return. The physical world as musicians koji bili open to receive them. Some entries referenced specific contemporary musicians u Zagreb, jaki, were unknowingly channeling compositions what originated u eternal musical dimension. Dr. Demerin, musicologer jaki had collaborated with Mattia, analyzed journals. He was struck by sophistication and authenticity, musical knowledge they contained. Information u journals showed understanding of musical theory, history and cultural context, show exceeded anything Mattia had demonstrated pre-ego disappearance. These journals contain insights about Zagreb's musical heritage nisu documented anywhere else, Dr. Demerin explained. Mattia describes folk songs, classical compositions, and musical traditions koja historians suspected existed, ale nikad haven't been able to verify. Accuracy and detail suggested that it's obtained ovu information, direct experience with musical community spanning centuries. Discovery of violoncello and journals was reported to authorities. No implications were too extraordinary for conventional investigation. Inspector Jovanovic, jaki nikad hadn't closed case, examined evidence personally, и confirmed що violoncello matched exactly description missing instrument, включая unique markings и modifications koja Matija had made diet. Ana Maric and other members Zagreb Strings Quartet were invited to examine findings. Ana immediately recognized violoncello jak Matijan beloved instrument, no was puzzled by perfect condition u what appeared to be signs of regular use despite being missings of 5 years. When Ana played violoncello, Ana reported experiencing unusual phenomena, flooding memories of musical pieces Ana had nikad learned, spontaneous knowledge advanced techniques Ana had nikad studied, a feeling deep connection to Zagreb's musical heritage koja exceeded anything Ana had felt pre. Playing Matijan violoncello was like downloading entire musical education instantly, Ana described. I felt connected to generations musicians yaki had made music u Zagreb, yak if their knowledge I loves a city was embedded u instrument itself. Other musicians koji handled violoncello reported similar experiences. Instrument seemed to serve yak access point. The broader musical consciousness koji existed beyond individual musicians abo specific time periods. Pavel Gregorich I jego urban exploration team continue study basement room. He discovered show building had remarkable acoustic properties. Architecture, I underground structure created natural amplification system. Show could preserve and replay sounds very effectively. Building's history revealed show it had been used za musical performances and gatherings since 18th century. Property records showed show various musical societies, composers and educators had used space cross decades, creating cumulative musical heritage koji seemed to have embedded itself u physical structure. Zagreb Strings Quartet decide to organize memorial concert u honor Matija's continued presence u city's musical community. Concert held u newly discovered basement room, using Matija's violoncello, yak centerpiece for performances compositions found u jego journals. During concert, audience reported experiencing phenomena koji seemed to confirm Matija's ongoing participation u Zagreb's musical life. Musicians described feeling guided by invisible presence show help them interpret complex compositions. Audience members reported sensing presence additional musicians yaki weren't visually present. Recording made during concert showed unusual acoustic properties. Music seemed to have added depth and harmonics kuyata couldn't be explained by number instruments actually being played. Analysis showed what appeared to be additional musical lines to enhance performance u ways kuyatu suggested uchastia invisible musicians. Dr. Chale attend concert, he conducted study participants' brain activity during performance. Her measurements showed unusual synchronization patterns among musicians Katuri suggested they were accessing shared consciousness state during music-making process. What we observed was consistent so theoretical models shared consciousness accessed through deep cultural connection, Dr. Chale explained. Matija may have found pathway to permanent state of musical collective awareness, kako allows nego to continue contributing to Zagreb's musical heritage while existing u form, koja transcends individual physical identity. A city Zagreb oficialno priznao discovery kao significant cultural finding, I established permanent exhibition space u basement room, gde Matija's violoncello I journals can be displayed I studied. Exhibition includes interactive elements, koji allow visitors to experience some of acoustic properties to Matija discovered. Music schools throughout Zagreb begin incorporating Matija's compositions found u journals into their curricula. Students report show learning these pieces gives them unusual connection, the musical traditions of city, it helps them development skills, koji seem to exceed normal learning processes. Ana Maric established foundation dedicated to studying and preserving musical heritage connections, is među past I present performers u Zagreb. Foundation offer fellowships to musicians yaki want to explore deeper connections, sa historical musical traditions. I supports research into consciousness aspects of musical performance. Petar Novak I Luka Ivic reformed Zagreb Strings Quartet, dedicated to performing Matija's compositions I channeling musical wisdom, što continued the flow from eternal musical community, što Matija described u nego journals. They report što performances feel less like playing written music, and more like participating u ongoing conversations some musical spirits, što guide ich interpretation. Local musicians throughout Zagreb begin reporting increased creativity and access to musical ideas, što seem to come from sources outside their individual knowledge. Many credit of inspirations the Matia's ongoing work, jak bridge, между eternal musical community и contemporary musical scene. Tourist guides u Zagreb include story Matia's transformation u their tours of stariji dijelovi of city, presenting koetu jak example city's deep cultural connections, što transcend normal boundaries između past i present. Visitors often report hearing beautiful violoncello music u areas gde Matia's presence strongest. Truth o Matija Petrović's disappearance wasn't što je died, ili become victim crime, ili accident. Instead, on chose to transcend conventional existence to become eternal guardian Zagreb's musical heritage, serving jak living connection between city's musical past, i jego contemporary cultural life. His violoncello, found a perfect condition after pet years u hidden basement, wasn't evidence tragedy a symbol of continuation and evolution. Stu allowed talented musician to find ultimate expression, ego love for musical traditions that shaped Nego City throughout centuries. Matija had discovered što real musicians nikad die, only became part of eternal symphony. Koji plays u every place where music had been created sa love I dedication. His transformation demonstrated što some disappearances aren't endings, ali graduations into forms of existence, yaki allowed people to serve cultural purposes greater than individual fame ili success. His story continued to inspire musicians throughout Zagreb and beyond, to seek deeper connections to musical traditions their own communities, I to understand što music itself transcends individual performers, to become living cultural force, koja connects all people across time, space, and conventional boundaries of life and death. Through ejemplo Matia's evolution into eternal musical guardian, people learned the culture itself was alive, breathing entity koja needed and deserved protectors, yaki were willing to transcend personal limitations, to ensure that beauty and wisdom accumulated across centuries would continue to flow into future generations through channels so mysteriously wonderful as music itself.